the more control or leverage it has on the worldly part. It wants the food and the drink and the sex and the status and the leadership and the control and the superiority, and it's greedy and it wants everything for itself. It doesn't care about anyone else and it's extremely selfish, right? That piece is the worldly part. And then the ruh is the part that has empathy and it has love. And the weaker the effect of the spirit, the weaker the conscience. You have these consciences that are dead. They've absolutely starved their spirit. There's nothing left. So they have a dead conscience. So they don't care. They can walk around killing people, stealing, bad-mouthing. They don't feel bad at all. They don't even think about it. It doesn't keep them up at night. Other people have a stronger spirit, so they make a mistake and then it makes them very upset. And they stay upset with themselves for a long time. Why? Because they're blaming themselves. So the Quran says, an-nafs al-lawwama, the part of the nafs that allows you to blame it. The part of the nafs that allows for blame, to apply blame. The ruh is able to strengthen it so it can apply blame. Who is it applying blame for? Is it applying blame to the nafs, not to anything else? If it was applying blame to others, it's no longer a conscience, like it's a waste of time. Anyone can apply blame to other people for their problems. But nafs al-lawwama is the nafs that is blaming itself because of the strength of that ruh, because that ruh has been strengthened. And just like your body starves when you don't feed it, your ruh starves when you don't feed it. Just like your body can't go for very long without water and food and other things that it needs. Your ruh needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's where it came from. So it needs all that which is connected to Him, and if you starve your ruh, it will die too. And you'll end up with a dead conscience, and after a while you just don't care anymore. And a lot of people live their lives making horrible mistakes, and they don't care. And they're performing absolutely, just horrific actions that are unimaginable, but they've learned to kill that off. The Quran talks about nafs al-lawwama, right? Because that's the part of reason. This is not, because it's not about, He's not here to, subhanahu wa ta'ala is starting off the surah, talking about the definition of Yawm Al-Qiyama, which is a definition that is reasonable, and talking about the internal motivation that you have within you to be a good person. Aside from thawab and iqab, taking out reward and punishment for a moment, there's a part within you, there's a conscience within you that will push you always to be better. It's there. It's already programmed. It's pre-programmed, it comes in a package, it's ready to go. You turn it on, and then every time you do something wrong, it immediately comes out. It's why the polygraph works. Because a part of you that knows you shouldn't be lying. You don't like lying, right? Your body hates it. That nafs al-lawwama is there. People who beat the polygraph have learned to kill that off so that they don't feel any of it, and they believe their own lies, and they don't feel guilty about doing any of these things. And they it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing, skill to master. But that's that internal motivation that you require as a human being, as a Muslim, is a nafs al-lawwama, the part of you that is capable, the conscience that is going to hold you accountable when you make mistakes, that's going to point out for you what is right and what is wrong, regardless of whether you are receiving revelation or not, regardless of whether you are taking anything from external sources or not. You don't always need external sources to know what's right and wrong. A lot of right and wrong comes from an internal programming that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put inside of you, just as a part of your welcome to life package. You have a conscience, and you know. Kids know. It's fun to watch them kind of deal with their consciences. It's fun to watch a kid do something that they were told not to do, right? And then catch them doing it and watch them struggle with whether they say the truth or not, whether you find your 5-year-old hiding behind the couch. What are you doing? And then they don't know what to tell you because they're eating a cookie that you told them 5 minutes ago they shouldn't be eating today. It's silly, but this is an experience for them where they feel, should I have done this? Should I have not done this? Should I lie? What should I? They're struggling. Why are they struggling? Because there's a conscience, right? Your job in life is to strengthen the conscience, help them develop it. If they depend always on external forces, coming back to the same thing, if you're going to always depend on external sources for your right and wrong, which is Jannah and Nar, for example, external sources, it'll run out after a while. Like if that's all you're depending upon, that will run out. You need the internal source. You need the nafs al-lawwama to be alive. It has to be educated. The nafs al-lawwama gets stronger the more knowledge it has, the more clarity it has, the better companionship, the examples it has, it becomes stronger. And the worse of all that, then the weaker it becomes, right? Same thing with kids. If they don't learn to use their consciences to guide them to do the right thing because it's there, then and they just depend upon you, where you are rewarding them for good stuff and punishing them for the bad stuff, then once you leave, what do you think they're going to do? If they don't have that developed, that piece of them is not developed, they don't feel it, then there's no hope. And some parents try to helicopter long enough, hoping that at some point, it doesn't make a difference. You can leave them at 25 and 35, they will still go. If they don't have a conscience, if you didn't help them develop that internal motivation, the regulation that comes from the inside, they're not going to make it very far in life. So it's an important piece. And it has to happen. These discussions have to occur. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath by two things. He takes an oath by the day where the stands will be taken. And he takes an oath by the part of you that internally motivates you to do the right thing, to take the stand. That stand is not takeable. It's not, you can't take it. You can't actually commit to it if you don't have a nafs al-lawama, that blaming part of your nafs, the conscience. It's annoying, isn't it? It's very annoying. We love to shut it up. We absolutely love to find a way to shut it up because the moment you do it, it starts to nag. You shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that. And you're like, just leave me alone. Everyone's doing this. You see a young person walking around and they don't want to do, they're doing something wrong, but they're not happy about it. And I see it all the time. I see this poor young person who's doing something wrong. They're not enjoying it. And they hate the fact that they're not enjoying it because everyone around them is enjoying it, but they're not. And I'm like, ya habibi, ya ahmar. You have your conscience still. Like, it's not dead yet, so don't kill it, because if once it's dead, then yes, you'll stop feeling bad about doing the wrong thing, but now you're lost beyond, it's going to take years to save you, if ever. Like, it'll be years before you find your way back that's one of my it's not my criteria, but it's the way I filter people out, especially kids. I don't have a criteria for it, but I watch around. When I see a kid has no conscience, I can't keep them around me. Because I can't fix that. I can't fix that. I don't have the utilities here. I don't have the tools here in the masjid for the hour or 2 or 3 that I see them to fix their conscience. This is a problem they have to, it's inevitable. Their loss is inevitable. They're going to go get lost for a while. They may come back later on, but they're lost. Because there's a piece of them that's not there. They don't apply blame to themselves when they do something wrong. They don't feel that piece. It's not something that bothers them. They don't feel upset with it. Khalas, there's nothing. I can't help them. I can't. And it may be harsh to do sometimes, but after doing this for 25 years since I was a kid, khalas, I know. I can tease out the kid that lacks that piece, that lacks in nafs al-lawam. It doesn't feel bad when they do something harmful. Right? They've lost that piece. They feel actually they need to do it to feel good about themselves. It's been a flip, and you need to save others from that, because once that's gone, it's gone. So those are the 2 oaths he takes subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah. They're very interesting. Like I told you before, he never takes an oath subhanahu wa ta'ala that's not meaningful. Like I just say wallah al-azim, right? It doesn't mean anything. The word azim is not something that you need to go look into and study and understand what I want to say next. It's just wallah al-azim. I just say that. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath, you have to listen to the oath. What is he swearing by? Because it matters. It's going to matter very much to what he's going to talk about later. And we've talked about this a number of times. And you'll see it more in Surat al-Mursalat and Nazi'at and Shams and Duha. We'll talk about them because there's more of them coming along. But here he said, he's using 2 anchors of an oath. The description of the day of judgment that is extremely based, that is based purely on the rationale of that day and what's going to happen, and making an oath subhanahu wa ta'ala by the part of the human being that is reasonable, that is capable of reasoning and making choices that will internally motivate them in one direction or the other. The answer to that is not really there. So we're going to talk about it later. So whenever I take an oath, there has to be jawab al-qasam in Arabic. So in English, it's basically, I swear to God, and then I stop. You're waiting for the next piece. What are you swear? What is your oath? What are you taking your oath about? So when he says, uqsimu bi yawm al-qiyama, uqsim bin nafs al-lawama, what? So he doesn't talk about it immediately. So we're going to bring it, I'm going to come back to this in a few verses. So we're going to keep on going. So he keeps on, and he continues to ask, ayahsabu al-insanu allan najma'a 'idhamah. Does the human being actually think that we don't have the ability to gather his bones after he dies? And he doesn't feel that's possible? And he feels that that's beyond the ability of a creator to najma' 'idhamah, that we bring his bones and put them all together again as they were before? Bala, of course we are. Qadireen, we are even capable. Ala an nusawwiya banana. We are capable of even nusawwi is taswiya is when you do something and you achieve equilibrium with it. When you get it perfectly balanced. And musawa is an equation, right? And musawa is equal. So yusawi is we make things and it's perfect. It's exactly the balance. An equation in Arabic is understood as a balance. So 5 equals 5. You put them, it's a balance. The mizan, the scale is going to be balanced. That's why it's equal. So taswiyah is when you come to a settlement. Taswiyah in Arabic in the courts is a settlement. Why we're settling things? We're evening it all. We're becoming a balance. Nusawi is when in Arabic we use this in slang to say to do something. But what it really means in Arabic is to do it with perfect balance. Do it perfectly. So bala, the answer, ayahsabu al-insan, does the human being actually think that we cannot gather his bones again? Bala, of course we are. قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. We are capable of performing, of resurrecting him and bringing him back in detail as his al-banan is the fingerprint. This is the banan. We are going to reconstruct with detail his fingerprints. You're going to look at this finger of yours, take a microscope and start seeing all these insanely weird looking lines that are very, very small and very stuck, and they're very accurate. They're distinctive to you as a human being. There's been 100 billion people and there's been 100 billion different fingerprints, and if more people are created, there'll be more fingerprints that'll be different, because it's just never two that are going to be exactly the same. That's how small they are. That's how accurate all this is. He's going to bring you back. He's going to bring back down to the detail. I mean, because you think, well, maybe he'll bring us back more like a Frankenstein type of thing, like just clump us all together enough for us to kind of take a walk. No. But qadirina, we are capable, we're competent enough to bring back his fingerprint. This is an argument, my brothers and sisters, not of fear or of desire. This is an argument of basic logic. If he created you from nothing, why are you finding it so difficult to comprehend that he will bring you back again once you die? Is it the gathering of the bones that you're struggling with? Why is that such a struggle? If he brought you forward from nothing, if he created you to begin with, if you were once nothing and then turned into something, why is the concept of it coming back again so complicated or tiring? Where does that complexity come from? What, because you feel like it's, but now in the grave there's nothing left, it's just bones, and then it goes back into the earth and it's gone. But you're struggling with the gathering of all of it, of bringing the cells back together, bringing the elements and making cells and making the bones and putting it all together. So he says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only are we going to bring you back, and put your bones back together, we're going to construct it down to the detail of your fingerprint. We're going to construct you down to the exact detail of your fingerprint once you were alive. So you're going to come out and you're going to find no difference between how you were, how you remembered yourself to be, and how you are on the Day of Judgment. And that is the first argument that he makes here, subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he takes the oath by Yawm Al-Qiyama. And then he says, Bal yuridu al-insan. Bal is a sentence in Arabic. And it denies what was said before and confirms something afterwards. So when he says Bal, what he's saying is the following. That's really not the problem for the human being. It's not that he doesn't think that we are capable of gathering his bones. It's easy for the human being to come to a conclusion that, if he created me from nothing, then putting my bones together is not going to be a big challenge for him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason that he's refusing Yawm Al-Qiyama, because that's the whole point of this, right? The whole point of this is, why is he took an oath by Yawm Al-Qiyama, and he's saying, well, why don't people accept it? Why aren't you living as if you're going to be held accountable? Why don't you understand they're going to be held accountable? A stand is going to be taken about you in the future, and live according to that, live based on that. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you utilizing the system that he put inside of you to save you that day? What's going to save you that day? It's that system that's installed inside of you, that nafs al-lawwama, that conscience. It will guide you. You will make the right choice 10 times out of 10 if you listen to it before you make a decision, before you say anything, before you do anything. It will save you every time. That's the ease of it. So why aren't you using it? There's Yawm Al-Qiyamah and there's the tool to make sure you're successful. So why aren't they doing it? Because the human being thinks that we can't bring his bones back. We're going to bring him back to the detail of his fingerprint. But that's not the real problem. That's not the real reason. The real reason is not that he does not believe. يُرِيدُ الْإِنسَانُ لِيَفْجُرَ أَمَامَهُ. The human being wants the capacity to do fujur in his future. Fujur means to fall off to break the law, to break not Canadian law, to break the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To do fujur is to do whatever you want, is to feed in to every desire and whim that you have on the inside that you know is not necessarily healthy. We all know that there are things that we want that we shouldn't necessarily want. There are itches that you want to scratch that we should never scratch. But we want to. We would love to have a way where we could do that blame-free. We want to do this blame-free. Please draw for me a picture of life where I don't have to worry about accountability, where I don't have to worry about a day where stands are going to be taken, where my conscience can shut up, can be quiet, so I can go ahead and enjoy, and steal, and take, and fool, and betray, and enjoy wealth, and enjoy drink, and enjoy sex, and enjoy status, and just do whatever I want in life, blame-free, where I don't have to worry about my conscience coming back and asking me, or I worry about some form of divine judgment that's going to happen on a day. I don't want any of that. I just need an excuse so I can do the wrong thing, so I can do what I want to do, what my nafs wants to do. That's what the human being wants. The human being wants a blame-free story where he can just succumb to all of his whims and desires. That's what the human being really wants. Because all of these regulations are tiring, right? They're tiring. They're not fun, like up front. When you're young and you're healthy, you feel like, well, why can't I do this again? Why is this haram? Why am I not allowed to behave that way? Why can't I eat this or drink that or go out with this person? Or what's the problem with all this? Everyone seems to be enjoying it. I would love to smoke that and try that and inject this and go over there and play this. It's a thought process that's there. And then you have all these regulations. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. So sometimes you need a rationale. You need to put together a story, a reasoning that allows for you to do that blame-free. Like, this is why I do it. Right? You need that. In order for the conscience to be killed, you have to reason with it. You have to come up with a story or a narrative but subhanAllah, it stays alive. Like the nafs, even if you come with the best reasoning of why it's okay to perform zina and to drink alcohol and to do drugs and to, one-night stands and all that other garbage, you can reason for it. But your nafs will continue to bother you your nafs al-lawama, your conscience, will continue to bother you for a while. Which is why people feel so bad. Which is why people have bad days after they do all these things. They don't feel good afterwards. They don't come after a week of partying, but they feel horrible and they've got depressed for a while because their conscience is heavy on them. It takes a while for them to get rid of that. Like it takes into their 60s and 70s where they have completely killed it off and now they can do whatever they want. I see it all the time. No blame at all. They don't feel any blame at all for wasting their wealth on stuff that are meaningless while others die. They don't care. They have completely made peace with it, which is a horrible thing. But that's how they chose to live their lives. Bal, the truth is, يُرِيدُ الْإِنسَانِ, the human being wants, لِيَفْجُرَ أَمَامَهُ. He wants to be able to perform actions that he wants that is wrong in his future, as he moves forward. And we stop there, right? Okay, so we'll end with that because I don't think this point of the ayat continue to explain. The ayat are all just giving you the reason. The ayat are telling us what the reasoning of the human being is. This is a form of da'wah. It's like, here's why you're thinking this way. Here's what you really want. Here's what your nafs wants. When you understand that, you can deal with it more maturely. You can deal with it in a much more productive manner. When you understand why you feel the way you feel. It's not just, I feel that way. I understand you feel that way. You want this, right? Yes, I want it. Do you understand why? No, I just know that I want it. No, that's not. Come on. What, you're a goat? You can figure out why. Why do you want this? Ask the question. It's scary because the answer is not nice. But ask why you want it. And then once you figure out why, ask why again. And then the more you ask, the more you'll find out about yourself. And at the end, you'll feel very ashamed because this ain't good. I'm not proud of this. And this is not something I should be playing. It's not a hand I should be playing into. It's not something I should be entertaining to begin with. So the verses continue to talk about how the human being processes this stuff. So read them. After you've heard this kind of bit of an introduction to the surah, read it on your own and see if you'll follow along with the logic clearly. And you'll see how he builds the case, subhanahu wa ta'ala, very clearly, just based on simple reasoning of why it is you should live purposefully. Purposefully, that's how the surah will end. Purposefully, not to live without purpose. You don't live suda, meaningless. You're going to live with aim. There's something, there's more to you than just these whims. There's much more to you. And I find that to be a beautiful way to perform da'wah, because people, I love to think that. Okay, one with that, inshallah. Subhanaka bihamdik, shalla la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka wa 'azzama ala nabiyyina wa habibina wa qurrati a'yunina Muhammad